following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah, go Cowboys!
Let's go, baby!
Are you ready for a break?
Yes.
Are you ready for a break?
Absolutely.
Ready for a break?
Yeah, and so much for that.
It's time for The Break on DallasCowboys.com.
We were on a break!
With Nick Eatman, David Hellman, Ambar Garcia, and Derek Eagleton.
It is Wednesday, May 11th, 2022, Season 18, Episode number 8. Welcome to the latest edition of The Break, live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios. At the start, we've got a little bit of time here today to talk to you guys about a lot of different things. We have the rookie minicamp coming up this weekend. We got some wrap-up on the draft and those guys and what you guys will be looking for this weekend, if anything. We'll talk about a little bit about that. We'll also talk about schedule release that's coming up tomorrow. Lots of interesting things coming out of that, as usual. The NFL, that is the Super Bowl for digital media groups around the NFL. Should be fun tomorrow. Stop it, Dave.
Sorry.
No one cares what you think about that.
I didn't say anything. You invited me into that.
I did. And then we'll see in the final segment if we have a little time to talk about a second NFL team in the city of Dallas. Maybe we'll have time for that. Maybe we won't. But we'll see how that goes. How you doing, Nick? You good?
I'm doing good. Yeah,
All right,
I wasn't expecting that one.
Yeah, I figure if we have a little time, we might throw it out there and let y'all feast on that a little bit and see what you think about that. Kind of funny, I thought, but we'll get to that in the third segment, maybe, if we have a little bit of time.
No balls chance in hell.
Yeah, I know. We'll get to that. So let's start first with the rookies. We last week did a deep dive into each player that was drafted and your thoughts on them. This week, I think we're going to take a little bit of a bigger picture view of the draft as a whole, and then with the rookies coming in this weekend, some of the things that are intriguing to you about that. Let's start first. We do know the rookie minicamp is coming up Friday, Saturday. They'll be arriving on Thursday. We'll have lots of content following those guys, interviewing those guys. You'll get to see the rookies for the first time in Cowboys uniforms. So that should be somewhat exciting for fans out there. Let's go back to the draft, though. And as you look across the entire draft, the entire lot of Cowboys picks, who was the most intriguing draft pick for you?
Most intriguing draft pick. Two come to mind, one being Jalen Tolbert, just because I think the value's great. I think he's good enough to start right away. Obviously Tyler Smith, but I hate to say project, but I just feel better about what Jalen Tolbert is right now and got to see more from Tyler Smith. And then Damone Clark, just because of the great unknown of what he can be when he's healthy and the discount that they got there. Those are the two for me.
For me, I would, obviously Tyler Smith. I think he, I don't know if I think he's a project left tackle. I don't know if he's a project left guard. If he is, they shouldn't have drafted him. So I'm hoping that he's not that. But I think Willetsko has a chance to probably be a starter in a couple of years. I think I could see that happening.
Over Josh Ball? Or how do you see them? Because I heard that conversation come up yesterday, and it was an intriguing one because Josh Ball is a fourth-round pick, and so
duke it out. That's fine. Whoever wins, that'd be great. I mean, I'm not counting on that. I mean, they're both fourth-round pick, or no, he's a fifth-round pick. Well, let's go. I could see that happening. But if Josh Ball's better, hey, that's a good problem.
If you can ball out, let's go.
It's a good problem to have.
You're just really going with the wordplay over there, huh?
No.
Well, let's go.
I'm
ball out.
Just talking right now. Amber,
you sound like Nick. Like every time y'all come up with some smarty
puns,
headline pun. Yeah. Well, I'm trying to think of a different guy other than Tyler Smith because he really is the guy that's more not just the guy, but the position itself. What's going on the O-line? That's the most intriguing part for me because we're a week out from the draft already, and we still haven't seen like any other signing of like a veteran guy. And I know they just drafted a first-round pick to come in and help, and they're expecting him to be a guy that can help in the get-go right away, but it's just I can't visualize all of that really going smoothly just yet. So I'm really intrigued as to what is actually going to happen with the tackle position and with the guard position as we start moving into rookie minicamp, then training camp, and seeing how things develop. Because I still think they need a veteran guy to come in and help, and they haven't signed a guy like that.
Yeah, it's interesting, and I think my most intriguing pick, it's really the two offensive linemen, because I think going into the draft, and I'll speak for myself, I was assuming that Dallas was looking at either the draft or some veteran to be the guys that would be your backup tackle, that kind of thing. And it sounds like from really the way the Cowboys are looking at it, they're looking at their young guys as their backups. I don't think they're necessarily going out and finding some veterans. So I'm interested to see how, can you have Smith come in and play guard immediately? As you said, Nick, I agree with you. If he can't do that, then I question whether he was worth the first-round pick. But can he come in and do that immediately? Is there an ability for Waletzko or Ball to maybe jump in there and be your swing tackle this year, or both of them battling in that situation? Can Farniok give you some competition at center? Like, I think there are lots of questions on the offensive line, and it seems like the approach the Cowboys are taking is that they're going to go with young guys.
I think, to Amber's point, if they do sign a veteran at this point, I think that they would probably deem them as progress stoppers. I think you have to wait and see this off-season and training camp. Now, if you get to camp and all of a sudden Dorrance Armstrong looks like Lawrence Taylor coming off the edge every time because you can't block him, then I would think maybe you do have to go that route. It may be too late.
Maybe Dorrance is just Lawrence Taylor.
Yeah. Dorrance Taylor?
Dorrance Taylor, yeah, maybe.
We'll see. That'd be good.
That would be a good problem to have, but yeah.
I'll lean the other way.
Okay.
And that's not a knock on Dorrance. That's training camp. We see that all the time where it's like, this guy's balling out. He's amazing practice day after day. And then it turns out it was the competition more so than what they were doing.
Last year.
He had a great training camp.
Great camp.
He did have a great season last year.
I thought his season was pretty good.
For not being a starter, for being a guy that they lean on special teams, he had a nice year. But
then we got to come
Not
on here
Lawrence Taylor.
and try to apologize Brian.
If none of their tackles can deal with him at training camp, that's a problem.
Yeah.
That's not a we've got a great end. It's we don't have any tackles, in my opinion.
Right.
All right. Who was the biggest steal of the draft?
Well, I mean, if I'm saying that Waletzko has a chance to start in a couple of years, then I got to say that one, especially since he's a fifth rounder, which fifth rounders haven't been too good around here at all.
Well, they had 4 shots
actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
And 4 shots at this one. So.
Yeah. That was about it's been a Bank of America type of round, so they gotta be better than that.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'll say Tolbert again because they almost drafted him at 56 and he was still there at 88. I want to say Damone Clark, but I think you got to hold off until you see if he's the same player. I think he will be. I hope he will be, but we don't know that right now.
That would be a steal then. That would be
for
a
sure.
Steal
if it's like nothing ever happened, then that is one of the steals of the draft probably. But it's just too soon to say that right now.
I tell you who Jerry would say. He's gonna go with Sam Williams.
Wait,
that's fair.
We're calling him D now, right?
Yeah, we should.
It's D. Williams.
That's his thing?
It's actually spelled D-E, so it's De, but everybody says D, so I guess we just say D.
I think his middle name. I think we talked about
That's
this
the
last
middle
week.
name?
His middle name is like De'Eric, I think,
something
like that.
What position is he gonna be? Like, what position is he going to be listed at?
Why? Because it would be D.E. Williams.
Then they're going to call him D.D. And
yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen. I can hear it in the press box now.
But yeah, I agree. I agree with Nick that Jerry would say that.
That's okay.
Is that a fair assessment that he should be considered a bit of a steal for the Cowboys?
Yeah, if he
not until it's too soon to say that it will be. Could argue that based on talent, you could argue Kelvin Joseph could be a steal too, and it doesn't seem that way right now. So those things go into consideration.
Steal. I don't like using those two.
Fair.
Together.
No, it's too soon to it's too soon to be like we were right about this. Like we took this chance and he was there, and it's going to pay off. It's too soon to say that.
Let's be honest. When you start talking about steals, it's probably too early to say that for anybody.
True.
You just don't know how it's going to pan out. But you kind of just base it on where they got them versus what their potential is, I guess, is the best way to look at it.
But like a Jalen Tolbert doesn't come with the same question marks, whereas I'm like, if he's on the field doing his thing, I think that's really good value for where they got him.
He's here to change the culture.
That's what he said.
He's coming down here to help change the culture.
Real quick, going back to Sam Williams, I forget.
D.
Whatever, man. Let me.
I'm just playing along.
Whatever, man.
Williams. Is it okay to use the last name then?
Sure.
Williams.
It's not a common name at all.
Well, now Connor is gone, so we'll stick to this Williams.
Yeah.
So with him, was he outside the question marks and all that? Was he like graded as a first-round pick, talent-wise?
I don't know that. I don't think the Cowboys had a first-round grade on him. I mean, the Cowboys had 14 first-round grades. And so no, I don't. I doubt very many people had a first-round grade on him. But in terms of pure ability, I think we talked about it last week. I mean, his tape against very good competition is very good.
Yeah.
It's
So-
all the off-field stuff for him, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not about his ability.
I don't know. I still don't know that. Like, I don't. If he was Captain America, I don't know that he would have been a first-round pick.
Really?
It's hard. It's hard to answer that question though. All this stuff is completely different. Like, one team's Cowboys are like, he's our best second-round grade, Tyler Smith. Somebody else could have him as a third.
Well, in your evaluation, obviously you looked at a lot of players. Do you think he was a guy that would have ended up being drafted in the first round? Again, understanding the premium on the defensive end position, do you think he's a first-round talent that just had other issues that made him be a second-round pick?
I don't feel comfortable saying he would have been a first-round pick if he had a clean bill. But I think I don't think he would have lasted to 56. Put it that way. I think he would have been one of the first guys taken on day 2, probably one of the first handful of guys.
It sounds like the on the field knocks for him is just his versatility in the position. And that's just what Ole Miss asked him to do: get up the field, beat these left tackles, and get to the quarterback, which he did. But sometimes with that, it's like, where else can you play him? Can you play him 3 downs? Is he just a rusher? Which there's value there, obviously. But I think that's the question marks he has to answer on the field: is what can you do with him all the time during the game? Because I think that's the difference, and Dave will know this better than me, but I think that's the difference between the rushers that get drafted high in the first round and the ones that have good sack numbers, but they don't necessarily show that they can be a consistent run stopper, 3-down player.
Yeah, I mean, the more you can do, the more complete your picture is, the better off you are, which he'll tell you. Like, Ole Miss asked him to do a lot of stuff other than line up out wide. Like, he played a lot of like 4-eye technique, like in closer inside the line, doing dirty work. That was a big thing. Oh gosh, I'm drawing a blank already. People have said that thing about guys before, where it's think Trayvon Walker, the number 1 overall pick, is like, well, Georgia asked him to play strong side a lot. He's fantastic against the run, and they didn't need him to be a pure edge rusher. D. Williams has some of that to his game, but again, I mean, 12.5 sacks in college. I mean, You don't see a whole lot of guys do better than that, just because of the limited number of games you play. Like, you don't see these 20 sack totals in a college season. I mean, 12.5 is really, really good in a college season. So he clearly has that ability.
So knowing what you know about the other players they have at the position and what you think of D. Williams, what would be a good year for him this year? And I'm not necessarily talking about in the way of sacks, but more from a standpoint of what role could the Cowboys expect him to play? Is he a guy that could be competing to be starter type? Or is he a guy that really, you think of more as just kind of a pass rush specialist that comes in on third downs and kind of gives you some extra pass rush?
I think for me, it starts with a good year for him is no issues off the field. That's a good start for him.
No expectations on the field necessarily.
No, I mean, I think it starts there.
Got it. Okay.
I think for me it starts there, and then just I mean, if he's a Chauncey Golston type guy that can just contribute at times, some special teams, but also comes in on third down to get some sacks, that would be a good year. I mean, I think anything
Looking better than Leighton Vander Esch.
Now looking better, yeah.
I could see that being possible. Him coming in and just making, maybe on the field, like where you notice him more than what Leighton has given you in the past year.
Playing the same role. These names are going to bother me here. This, like I said, this DE and other, because if he's not listed as a DE, what's he going to be listed at?
Linebacker.
Sam.
I see what you're doing
Sam.
there.
I'm serious.
Sam D. Williams.
Sam. He's a Sam.
That's actually his name.
He goes by Sam,
right?
but no, he's not going by Sam, but he is a Sam. What number is he? 54?
54.
Oh, great.
A successful season for him would be like being one of the 4 primary defensive ends. I mean, DeMarcus, Fowler, and Dorrance would be the other ones. If he's one of those 4 pass rush situations, passing situations,
So be better than
play somewhere between 35 and 55% of the snaps. Yeah,
Be
yeah,
better
it'd be
than
awesome
Basham.
if he could be better than
Is there going to
Basham.
be a couple odd men out here? I mean, you got
25 tackles
Golston
and
is
4 sacks.
a young guy. I mean, I don't think they're giving up on him. When you start thinking about, I mean, you just throw out those 4 names. Golston wasn't mentioned there. Basham wasn't mentioned there. Obviously, Basham is a veteran. If the Cowboys decide they don't need him, they could always move away. Golston's not somebody I wouldn't think that they're ready to give up on. As a
Hell
third-round
no.
pick. That's
No,
what my
no,
point.
no.
So where does that all lay out?
Golston's got some good versatility to go inside.
That's, I mean, DeMarcus, Fowler, Williams, Dorrance, even throw in Basham.
Yeah.
Even and then
Golston.
did I haven't said Golston
said
yet?
Golston, yeah.
So that gives you 6.
Right.
And so that's fine right there. I mean, 6 defensive ends is pretty normal. And then consider the fact that Golston has inside flex, and even to some degree, Tank does too.
Yeah, I
So-
wasn't even talking so much about making the team as much as who's going to get the snaps. Like, you
Yeah.
want to keep developing Golston. He's going to need snaps to keep developing, right?
Well, and the snaps comes down to what
winning?
else you could do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but if Basham's just a little bit better than Golston is, but Golston is helping you on special teams, or Dorrance is helping you on special teams, or whatever, then those guys play. But it always works itself out. We know that.
Yep.
But
I mean, those are the quintessential situations where like the team would probably love to get cheaper. Like, I mean, I'm not trying to fire Terrell Basham, but he's not making enough money. Like, he's got to have a good camp.
Fowler.
Fowler,
Yeah.
like, sounds
Yeah.
weird to say, and I don't think he would be cut,
Yeah.
but they are not tied to him. If they get to camp and Williams is just that dude, and Golston takes a step, I mean, like I said, that would surprise me, but they're not tied to either of those guys financially.
Yeah, they just gave you flexibility when it came to draft day,
But-
right?
That's Cowboys special.
But
That's what they like to do.
For some reason, I keep seeing him. I don't know. Like, to me, in my mind, when I visualize the team and the defense, I just see him fitting better. And I know he's a defensive end. Like, that's how they drafted him. But I see him fitting better as a linebacker, like rotating somehow and helping in that part of the
Is that
field.
just because you think he looks like Micah?
No, and I'm trying to put that on the side, but just watching like some of his tape and seeing the way that he plays,
You didn't even mention him.
Micah?
But that's like
You didn't
well,
even
that's a
mention-
big
Yeah.
given though.
no,
No,
but he's
no.
saying more
Oh,
from the
as
standpoint,
a-
is he going to be playing down
As
at
a rusher.
defensive end
Pressure. Yeah,
some, and
pressure.
that's still more reps, right?
Yeah.
But and to your point about Williams, Mike is the same way. Like, you just overhang those guys on the formation. Yeah, like, I bet D. Williams will play some standing up. Like, hey,
Good point.
get out there, hang off of the end. We'll have 5 down linemen, and one of them will be D. Williams, sort of standing there looking like he's about to take off from first base. Just club your way around the tackle and get home.
You guys
Don't worry
just
about
talking
anything else.
the
I
D
like the
line.
visual.
Yeah.
It's good.
How do you envision the linebackers then? The
Yeah.
group.
Hold on. Before I get to that, I want to say this one thing about Micah. And you say you guys kind of looks alike and all that. If Micah can spread that wing a little bit and D. Williams falls under that and they are together, I like that. I think somebody needs to do that. Somebody needs to, whoever that is. And I know Micah's still young himself, and he's not too far removed from a guy that people thought had character issues or whatever. But he loves football, and he works at getting better. And if that can be a connection, a form, that would be outstanding if that can happen. To answer your question, linebackers, it's up in the air. I mean, Leighton Vander Esch and Micah,
Leighton,
Real
Micah.
Cox has got to get
Yeah,
back.
Leighton, Micah, Cox, and Curse. Boom, done. Good.
Gifford.
Luke Gifford too. That's cool. He can play. He can join in.
Do you think Devin Harper will even have a chance to battle for that?
I think he will. We answered a mailbag about this, like just spitballing, just trying to predict the future. I bet he'll make the team.
Yeah, I do
and
too.
it'll be mainly to play special teams and be on kick and punt team and all that stuff.
I put him as third most reps among all the rookie draft picks, Devin Harper. Third most. Behind Tyler Smith, and then I think It's either going to be Tolbert or Ferguson.
It's got to be Tolbert, right?
Doesn't have to be.
Doesn't have to be.
I just assume they're going
would
to need
imagine
him
so,
early
yeah.
on. I think if he's as ready as you say he is, then once you get him in there, I think he's going to continue to get opportunities. And you know how that goes. Again, receivers will get injured and he'll be playing.
I could just see Ferguson playing a lot. I could see him just being a lot of 2 tight end sets, and I see him out.
I was going to say they could pivot away and try to play 12 personnel until Gallup comes back.
point.
Like, there's no way to know how they want to play that. I will say, I feel fine about how the linebacker situation looks as long as everybody stays healthy. It's completely fair to say you haven't given yourself a whole lot of insurance there if that isn't the case.
Well, great, Dave. You just set us up. We're going to take a break. When we come back, I'm going to ask you guys where the holes still exist on this team. Linebacker, maybe one of them. We'll talk about that when we come back. This is DallasCowboys.com radio.
At AT&T, everyone, new and existing customers, get our best deals on every smartphone. Why? Because you deserve it. For turning your living room into your office and your gym. For teaching Grandma how to video call and teaching her again.
It's the button on your left, Nana. Okay, your other left.
It's not complicated. Everyone deserves something new. So AT&T is giving everyone, new and existing customers, our best deals with every unlimited plan on every smartphone, even the latest ones.
AT&T may temporarily slow data speeds if the network is busy. Restrictions and exceptions may apply.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black? Right now, you can get the Jack Black Starter, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The starter includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites, plus a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word TEAMJB. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys. The Jack Black Starter, $10, free shipping.
The Cowboys way, where 16 Hall of Famers and 5 championships shows us what success looks like. Where turkey is always the second best part of Thanksgiving Day. Where we are all defined by one single thing, the star. Where we as fans know it's our job to keep the tradition going. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys and to support the quest of living life the Cowboys way.
Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
Before there was a draft, you could size up a cowboy by 3 simple factors: the crease in his hat, the bend of his brim, and his unbending attitude. A man's Stetson didn't just protect him from what life threw at him, it projected a rugged, unstoppable spirit. Stetson hats are still American-made with pride right here in Texas. They're still the unofficial crown of all self-respecting cowboys, and Stetson is proud to be on the field with America's team. Find a retailer nearest you at stetson.com/cowboys.
Back to the break.
Whether you're watching from home or cheering from the stands, Essler Lenses will let you see every exciting play. Book an appointment at your local Essler expert and find the perfect Essler lens for you. See more, do more, Essler.
Welcome back. It is the second segment of the break. We're live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star. We're talking about the rookie class. They will be in on Thursday to start the rookie minicamp practices on Friday and Saturday. Here's a question for you guys. What were the holes, or what holes do you think still exist on this team after the draft that maybe the Cowboys will have to address in free agency at some point? And how should they address them?
I mean, we spent a decent amount of time on the offensive line. And they've already said they're not going to do it, so that's fine. We'll see how it goes. But I could see a scenario where you don't feel good about your swing tackle at some point this summer, maybe during training camp, maybe during roster cuts. Give Tyler Smith the benefit of the doubt, but if I feel fine that he'll be good or he'll be ready, but I mean, if he's not, and all of a sudden now Connor McGovern is, that's not a wonderful situation to be in. But we'll give Tyler Smith the benefit of the doubt. I feel okay about that. After offensive line, or specifically swing tackle, I would say linebacker, like I just said in the last segment.
Yeah, I mean, I'm tired of saying that I think center is a problem because they don't. So,
well, they obviously may. I mean, I shouldn't say obviously may. It's obvious to me that they're at least thinking about it because they're looking at Farniok, right?
Yeah, but
they also signed 2 undrafted guys. Not that is not a, you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, Farniok is a late draft pick, so it's not like he's was brought in here to take his job. I'm just saying, I think they're looking at it and saying, are there better options? At least asking that question.
Well, that's a fair that's a fair point, but also you could say you had 9 draft picks and you didn't take any of them, and you had a chance to take. I think you had a chance to take the best center in the draft, whoever they think that is.
They were all available to them.
That maybe they think that this is a very weak draft class. They probably do, but I'm just saying they didn't even. You're going to go off of Farniok, who hasn't played as many snaps at center as McGovern, so. They didn't really throw anybody else out there a little bit.
Couldn't that also be the fact, though, that the positions that they did draft, they felt like were a higher priority than, say, that center that you were talking about?
And that takes all back to what I'm saying. Yeah. They don't view that issue as much as I do. I just think it still seems to be a problem. But if they're going to keep trying to get him developed, that's fine. I mean, that's what they did with Terrence Steele, and it worked.
Is there a position that they did draft in the first 2 days, let's say, for example, where you felt like that position was less of an important position for them than center?
Yeah, that defensive end edge rusher position because what
D.
Yeah. Anyways, I mean, I would have taken a center there, but I'm not as sold, and I haven't seen as much tape, so maybe I'm going with the small school there, but I'm not as sold as Tolbert going to come right in and help at receiver. I still think they have some issues at receiver. They're just banking on a South Alabama rookie to be good, or James Washington to finally kind of resurrect his career, or whatever it is. Kind of banking on something, or Gallup getting healthy, or CD proving that he could be number one when he hasn't shown that yet.
Well, he's already number one, right?
Proving to be a worthy number one that you can count on every game, including the playoffs when you're getting beat by the 49ers. Show up. That's all I'm saying. Prove that. He hasn't proven that, has he?
No, but Cooper had need. Like I don't know that. Cooper he showed up every game. Like seriously,
he showed up enough.
Yeah, I mean,
he's taken over enough games in his career.
I get that he had some really great games. I don't think that every game they relied on him.
Agreed. I mean,
that's their MO anyway.
Okay, and maybe it is. I mean, who knows whether it's them, whether it's him, whether it's the quarterback. Like, there's a lot of different factors of what could be the issue there. But I don't think he was like a consistent every game.
He wasn't. And they traded him for a bag of chips. So my point is that
that's still the problem.
But none of the receivers you have that have, to me, they all have some kind of major question marks. Whether can they take it to the next level? Can they be quality? I mean, they all have their question marks, and so that's going to be interesting.
I'm very high on Jalen Tolbert, but it's undeniable they purposefully got worse at that position, and they're not better than they were.
Cedric.
We didn't even mention Cedric, but Coop and Cedric together, they purposefully got worse. I mean, losing Cedric, there's only so much you can do, but they sent Amari away. They clearly wasn't about money at the end of the day. They feel that way. That's fine. We'll see if they're right. I don't think they are.
I don't either. I would have restructured Amari and not signed Gallup. That's what I would have done. And if I would have had Jalen Tolbert in the third round, you still draft him there because you still could get James Washington. You can still do that, but I would have liked that situation better. Plus, they're going to be catching balls this weekend as opposed to the cords and stuff like that. But I saw Gallup the other day, like out there. I mean, I think it's good. It seems like it's I don't know much about ACL injuries and when they come back and all that, but you just know what the guy's able to do here at early May or mid-May. It seems optimistic.
He seems like he's where he's supposed to be.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think I agree with you guys. I think that there are probably as many question marks at the wide receiver position as at any position on this team. Although I think they've addressed it from the standpoint of a numbers game. Like they got numbers at this point. It's just they all got question marks. Like you said, can everybody take the next step up, right? Everybody has to take the next step up. And although CD he was the number one receiver last year statistically, he didn't have to do it without an Amari on the opposite side. Right. That's the part that you got to think about and figure out what that looks like.
Take him out of the game and then see what happens.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the part that I think there are just a lot of questions at that position, and I think that they addressed it as they see fit. And I don't have as much of a problem with the move from Amari if it is what I think it is, which is they felt like maybe they wanted a different kind of mentality at the receiver position, which that's fair. If they want to go with somebody that seems to be a little bit more, kind of cut your throat kind of player, by all means do that if that's what you choose to do. But I don't think that just from a pure ability standpoint, I don't think they got better.
And I mean, Amari was the same guy the whole time he was here, as far
Absolutely.
as I'm aware, and it led to some really successful moments. Not all the time, you're right, but to just be like, this is so bad that we got to get rid of it right now, and our receiver core will be lesser because of it. Coming off of a 12-5 season, it's just hard to reconcile.
Well, you know what
that.
I do wonder.
I just can't.
Because they could have drafted Tolbert, like Nick just said. They could have still drafted Tolbert with Amari on the team, and then maybe even you've got a long-term succession plan. Like, this guy can sit and develop for a year, and if he only catches 15 passes, that's not the end of the world. And then next year we can talk about the future. But now it's like, no, this guy needs to be good right away.
Could it be the fact that Cowboys decision makers saw what happened against San Francisco? They saw that final quarter of the season where it felt like in a lot of situations the Cowboys were getting beat up, and maybe they just felt like, yeah, we got some talented guys, but we don't have enough guys that when we're getting beat up are willing to kind of be willing to fight back. And I don't want to make it seem like they weren't playing hard. That wasn't the issue, I don't think. I just think that just that mentality, it's the mentality of the way San Francisco came in there. It's just a different kind of mentality.
The Niners bullied them, and every pick they made looks like it was aimed at addressing that fact.
Right. I keep going back to the New England game. You know, I think we all think that Bill Belichick's one of the greatest to ever do it, if not the best. And he told you who he thought was the best player on the team, and he tried to take him out of the game. Plus, if you look at the salaries now, you look at the wide receiver
pretty nice, doesn't it?
now,
But it wasn't about money. We've all said that. We know money was not the driver of this. I don't think.
I think it. I mean, I've said it before. It all snowballs together.
I think money was in the front seat. I mean, for
you
sure.
do?
Yes. I mean, you don't think?
I think it was a byproduct. Honestly, I think that they wanted a different kind of receiver. I honestly do. I don't think it was about the money, because it wasn't like they turned around and used that money on a lot of other stuff. Like, I don't think it was about the money.
Well, I mean,
they could have kept him, and they would have been they would not have been in a bad cap situation, right?
I mean, it depends on what they had to restructure. They'd have to restructure,
yeah. But
they didn't.
Sounds like maybe he wanted to do that.
Yeah, they didn't really want to restructure, but I do think money was a factor.
Clearly, they had their reasons to do what they did and make the decisions that they made. But as I'm sitting here listening to you guys, I find it so hard to think that this season, as the team looks right now, it's gonna turn out okay for the Cowboys. Like, I am having a hard time visualizing that, because you talk about the wide receiver position. I just think they did take a step back overall, and they're counting on so many young guys all around the offense. And you look at the O-line. We keep talking about the O-line. I look at a game where I'm not trusting Tyron Smith to be there. I think we can all agree on that, that at some point he's going to come out of the game. What does that look like now? Then you got a guy like Dak Prescott that got injured 2 years ago, came back. Okay, he's doing great. Then he re-injured himself. What was it? The shoulder. Then he went through a procedure. He's coming back. He looks healthy and everything like that. But that's still in the back of your mind, being cautious of that. Then you see how the running game was affected. Now you're trying to count on these young guys to be able to protect, to help the run game, the pass game. Then also wide receivers to hope that they do what they need to do, to hope that CeeDee Lamb, and I think that CeeDee Lamb can definitely be that guy, but the players around him, while he's trying to do that, it's just going to be really, really hard for them to be able to accomplish all of that with all those moving pieces and make it work as well as they did last year with what they've got. And I think that clearly they've putting a lot of trust on a lot of people, but I can't see it. I really can't.
Ultimately who they're putting their trust in. It's Dak. Like, this is what happens when you pay a quarterback huge money like that. Is at some point you got to be like, man, you have to be the man. And sometimes you have to be the man when others around you are not. So it might just be the situation that's how it goes.
Can Dak be that kind of guy?
We don't know.
We don't know. But
we've
seen, we can only talk about and speak about what we've seen so far, and what we've seen is that he is the kind of guy who does need help around him. And yes, he can make great throws. We've seen the way that he's developed as a player from when he started to where he's at now, being able to throw downfield. He's improved so much in that aspect, but he needs help around him. And we haven't, unless you guys saw plays that I missed, but we haven't seen him be the guy that the team can fully 100% rely on. He needs the protection at least, and he needs those guys that can catch the ball for him.
This conversation doesn't sit right with me because they all do. We've seen it time and time again. Patrick Mahomes was nothing without his offensive line. He's got arguably the best duo of pass catchers in the league, and now we're about to find out just how. I know he's amazing, but we'll see. What do you look like without Tyreek Hill?
Yeah.
Everybody needs help, and
Aaron Rodgers might be the only exception in the NFL right now because he's had to kind of adapt to different receivers.
Well, do you think the Cowboys have given Dak the help that he needs?
No, and
what
rubs me the wrong way is that they got rid of a lot of it needlessly. And we'll see. And I think they're setting him up for a bad time this year at least. And that's what I go back to the fact that I just they're not better for 2022, and I think deep in the recesses of their inner sanctum, I think they're okay with that because they play in a weak division. They can still make the playoffs with this team.
Once again,
sure.
Dave,
What?
you set up the next segment perfectly. We're going to take our final break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about schedule release. We're going to talk about some of the matchups that the Cowboys have. Some interesting matchups. There was also one of the games that was released today that we do know already when that's going to happen. We'll talk about that when we come back. This is DallasCowboys.com radio.
Hi, I'm Clint Tillison with...
And I'm Jay Novacek, and we're both with...
United Ag and Turf, the official tractor provider of the Dallas Cowboys.
So, if you need a tractor to bale some hay, a mower to cut some grass, or a gator to get some chores done...
Get a John Deere at United Ag and Turf.
And then, let's get to work.
Hey, Jay, that's my line.
Well, not today.
Get to work with a John Deere tractor package that's just right for you and your budget. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com.
The Cowboys way, where 16 Hall of Famers and 5 championships shows us what success looks like. Where turkey is always the second best part of Thanksgiving Day. Where we are all defined by one single thing, the star. Where we as fans know it's our job to keep the tradition going. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys and to support the quest of living life the Cowboys way.
Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
At AT&T, everyone, new and existing customers, get our best deals on every smartphone. Why? Because you deserve it. For turning your living room into your office and your gym. For teaching grandma how to video call. And teaching her again.
It's the button on your left, Nana. Okay, your other left.
It's not complicated. Everyone deserves something new. So AT&T is giving everyone, new and existing customers, our best deals with every unlimited plan on every smartphone, even the latest ones.
AT&T may temporarily slow data speeds if the network is busy. Restrictions and exceptions may apply.
New Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. You deserve it.
I do deserve that.
You deserve decadent flavor without sugar. And a day at the beach without sand getting everywhere. And a relaxing bath that your children don't interrupt.
I deserve all that?
It's really just a visual metaphor for Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. Everything you want, nothing you don't.
A visual metaphor on the radio. I do deserve that.
Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. The zero you deserve is finally here.
Back to the break.
Registration is open for Dallas Cowboys Youth Academy camps presented by Invisalign. Don't miss the chance to learn from former Dallas Cowboy players, including Danny McCray, and current Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Visit DallasCowboys.com/academy to learn more and secure your spot today. Danny McCray running that show over there.
Yeah, he is. Doing it well. All right, welcome back. Final segment of the break, live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star. And tomorrow is the day the schedule is released. I'm very excited. We got some surprises for you fans out there.
Have you seen it?
I have not. Have I seen what?
The schedule.
I'm not going to answer that question. But the schedule will be released for the general public on tomorrow. And
yeah.
and we'll have a video as we do every year. Last year, if you remember, it was the Post Malone video. This year, it'll be some other little surprises for you guys. And why are you laughing?
because I've heard some whispers of what that could be, but I don't know. I haven't seen it yet. I'm sure it's going to be good.
It's gonna be good.
I wonder. I love the. You said it. You're like, this is the Super Bowl for digital media teams. Like this is the event every year where you measure yourself against the rest of the league,
right.
And everybody else is like, just tell me the freaking games. I don't care.
The schedule.
I don't care.
I don't know. I think fans have kind of gotten
and the really good ones are great. Like the post video was amazing. I'll never forget the one the Falcons did. That was like Game of Thrones a few years ago.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Is that one they trolled the Saints?
I don't remember.
In the middle of it, they did troll the
There's usually like an Easter egg in there somewhere. They are cool, and I will enjoy a few of them, but at the same time, I'm like, can I just get a PDF with the games?
You can. You can.
I'm trying to book flights. I'm trying to figure things out.
You can go to the website, and you can just look at just all the games.
Yeah, I know.
The videos are just for the fun of it, right? Like, as a matter of fact, like in our video, the schedule's only up for like a few seconds of the video. Like it's a long video, but it's only up for a few seconds. The schedule's kind of irrelevant to it. It's
kind
an
of like
opportunity just to do something fun.
It's like how the Super Bowl has become such a big deal for advertising agencies.
There you go.
I mean, I think what makes it fun about these videos is, in my opinion, I mean, you don't always bat 1,000.
No.
Like there's some times when you're like, yeah, okay.
No.
Let's try it next year.
Yeah.
Like
and by the way,
work.
That's one of the beautiful things about working here. I've had ownership tell me a number of times, look, I want you guys to swing for the fences. Sometimes that means you're going to strike out. Like, it's okay. But go out going for something that's really cool and interesting. And so, there have been some years we thought it might do well, and it just didn't do so well. There are other years that it went really crazy, and people loved it. So, it's with any creative work, right? You do your best and see how it goes.
You haven't seen it yet.
I do think this is going to be pretty interesting because it's going to be a little bit shocking, a little bit surprising. So we'll see as I'm looking up. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Here's the schedule. We do know today. There was a game that was announced today that we already know, November 13th. We will be heading to Lambeau Field in Green Bay, 3:25 kick time. Expecting a blizzard, Nick? Or did the Cowboys kind of escape one? Because anytime you know you got to go to Green Bay, you always are looking at that date of when that game's going to fall, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be cold. I mean, I definitely think that you escaped that. I mean, that's good for both, though. I mean, but think about it, too. Like, to be the team that the Cowboys probably need, they're going to need to run the football better. Mm-hmm. So, you'd like, they escaped the cold weather, but to be the team, like I said, that they want to be, I mean, they shouldn't be as worried about games like that. I'd rather. I mean, we saw Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs. They couldn't function. I don't think they scored a touchdown. I think they had a block. Maybe that was the 49ers that had the block. They might have scored one touchdown, but he wasn't the same. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I'm not saying it's really a great thing to be, at least the weather's going to be great. Aaron Rodgers can throw it around the yard. I mean, like, I mean, for us, we don't have to pack like you don't have to pack your fur coat. But
average temperature on November 13th in Green Bay is about 40. It was 35 for their game that weekend last year. I mean, that's a win.
I'll take
that's
that.
nice. I'll take that.
That's like
Any place in the world.
No, that's actually really great weather for a football game.
Yeah.
You're talking low 40s, maybe upper 30s. That's a pretty good game in the NFL.
If there's fog when you're speaking, that's way too cold.
Well,
for you.
The studio. I mean, you go into our studio and that happens in there.
All right, so you look at some of the teams the Cowboys are going to play this year. We do know that they got home games against the NFC East. They got Chicago, Detroit, Tampa Bay, Indy, Houston, and Cincinnati. Why are you laughing?
Chicago. Do you have a Chicago schedule?
I'm more worried about Chicago than Green Bay.
Well, Chicago's a home game.
That's a home game, yeah. It's a home game. So they're coming here. So we're not worried about that. That's been the coldest I've ever been is that game. That was a
Chicago on the road?
Yeah, that was a cold game.
Thank you.
All right, and then on the road, they've got the NFC East again, Green Bay, Minnesota, the Rams, Jacksonville, and Tennessee. Dave, you mentioned it a little earlier. They have the easiest schedule in NFL if you want to look at it from the standpoint of the win-loss record of their opponents in 2021. My question for you guys, how much does that matter?
It doesn't matter. Every year we do this. Every year you're trying to assign wins and losses based on what the schedule looks like in May, and nobody in their right mind saw the Bengals making a run at the Super Bowl. Like all of us, this time last year, you're like, that should be a win. We're better. Like Burrow's good, but we're better than the Bengals. Now it's like, holy crap, the Super Bowl runner-up's coming to town. Like, it's ridiculous to try to guess this stuff. Having said that, I do think there's a difference. I say this all the time. There's like 4 teams that are clearly better than everyone and 4 teams that are clearly worse, and then the rest is anybody's guess. But a few of those teams that are clearly very bad are on the Cowboys' schedule. Like, if they make the playoffs, you can come, I'll eat all the crow you want. Like, you should be able to beat Houston, Detroit, Chicago, like those 3 teams. I hold off on Jacksonville.
Just gonna throw that up
Really?
there?
No, you hold off on Jacksonville?
I'm not saying Jacksonville is going to like make the playoffs, but I hold off on saying Jacksonville is going to be absolutely terrible. I mean, with the investments that they've
That's
made,
how I feel about Detroit, actually.
Possible.
Just my opinion, but go ahead.
With the amount of money that they've spent, I still don't know why they gave Christian Kirk $18 million a year, but like their offensive line looks nice all of a sudden. They've added a badass pass rusher to go with Josh Allen. They signed a bunch of linebackers. Like, do I think they're going to be amazing? No, but I would be shocked if they pick first in the draft. Like, I think that's a team that's capable of winning 5 or 6 games.
Yeah.
But I'll even throw them in there. I mean, the Cowboys should beat the Jags. Yeah. I will say that. That's 4 games that you should win right there. Jacksonville, Houston, Detroit, Chicago.
And
like,
the crazy part
you should win those games.
And then you've got just the opposite of that. You've got some really tough games against some of those teams you said that are going to be good. Tampa Bay, the Rams. Like, it's kind of like the Cowboys have, it's kind of feast or famine. You got some of the worst teams in the league. You got some of the best teams in the league. Not a lot of in between there.
But going back to my point from the last segment, if you can sweep those 4 potential awful teams, a few of which will probably be fighting for the number 1 overall pick, Houston. And then you got the division where they've dominated for most of Dak's career when he's been healthy. 4-2 in the division, plus 4 wins against. I mean, you're already at 8. Like, and that's why I sit here. I'm like, yeah, maybe the Cowboys are okay with taking a slight step back, because if they just handle their business in the games they should win, they'll be a playoff team. And I'm not saying that's good enough for fans that are listening to me, but I can see the rationale there of like,
I can't.
Which I appreciate that viewpoint.
Because I'm tired of hearing that. I'm tired of hearing
I
when
get
they
it.
say,
They don't care.
Yeah, like you look at, it should be an easy schedule for the Cowboys. How does that help them? Really? Okay, we get to the playoffs or whatever, but then we're embarrassed because you see the reality of things when you are coming up against better teams. And throughout the season, we're like, okay, that look good. Well, what matters is the win. Yeah, sure. It does matter. But how much is that really helping them? We saw it happen last year where they faced a lot of teams that weren't really that good, and the Cowboys might have looked better than what they really were, and maybe we started being hypnotized by that, or like seeing this illusion of what they were creating, when in reality they weren't what we thought they were at the beginning of the year. So this whole thing of like, sure, easy schedule, whatever, they get to the playoffs. And then what? We're sitting here another year.
No, yeah.
Repeating the same thing over and over.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely saying what every fan out there is thinking right now and has been thinking since the end of this year is they're not going to get fooled this upcoming year by what happens in the regular season, because I think that's where a lot of people were upset. They felt like, I thought this team was one thing, and then we got to the second half of the year and we got to the playoffs and I found out they were something different.
Fell for it.
Yeah, and I think that's the hard part for fans right now. That's the juxtaposition that they're in, is how much do I want to buy in and believe what I see in the season versus what I think they'll be in the postseason.
That is your right as a fan. And I'm not telling you should be excited by that. I'm telling you what their rationale might be for, like, very quietly, they're like, okay, we take a step back this year. We clean up our cap. We can still make the playoffs, and you never know what's going to happen once we get there. And then in 23 and 24, we can make moves toward really improving this team. It should make you feel better about this year. And I think it's a frustrating mentality if that is their mentality. But I can see the logic. Unless, of course,
it is what I think it might be, that they're trying to remake the, as Jalen said, the culture of this team. Like, they're trying to build this team in a way that maybe has either a little bit less talent, but a lot more bravado and a lot more attitude, or equal talent and more bravado and attitude.
It seems like a very Cowboys thing between the way that they run the ball, the way that they get after the quarterback, and the way that they're physical and kind of got some S in their neck. Like the Cowboys are like, yeah, the 49ers got this thing figured out. We want to be like that. I can see that perfectly.
That's me too. Like that's what I think I'm seeing. Now again, I've not been told that. That's what I think I'm seeing.
I'm just guessing.
Yeah.
And we kind of, I don't remember if we talked about this on the break or not, but it'll be interesting because this year is a very, very important year for someone in a high position of power, which is the head coach. And, clearly there's no possible way that he's going to take this lightly or whatever. He's going to try the best that he can to make it happen.
He doesn't have
because
years to figure that out.
Yeah, this is a prove it, this is it, I think, for him. We all talked about it this offseason. So we'll see what he can actually do with what the Cowboys have given him.
So when the schedule comes out tomorrow, what do you guys typically look for? What do you look for in a schedule to kind of figure out?
You want the honest answer to that?
Yeah, you can give me the honest answer, and then you can tell me the answer from the standpoint of the Cowboys, because I know it's personal.
Yeah,
for me,
I look at like, okay, I got a wedding I'm supposed to be at. What weekend is that? Like, when's the bye week? Who's LSU playing during the bye week? Like, it's purely selfish on my end. And then after the first 20 minutes, once I've got all that sorted,
then let's talk about the Cowboys.
Yeah, then I'm like, oh man, they play a lot of road games in December. Who's the team before Thanksgiving? I think that's all. I mean, Kansas City beat the hell out of them the game before Thanksgiving last year. I think the wear and tear in that situation, and whether or not you have to travel, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
And when the bye comes, like if they get to training camp on July 25th, how long are they playing football before they get a break? Stuff like that.
Holidays, Thanksgiving.
They can have two this year because Christmas Day is on a Sunday this year, so it's possible they could be playing.
Is it really?
Yeah, they could be playing on Christmas Day too.
Sorry, Mom and Dad.
So home or road becomes a big deal for that game.
I don't think the Cowboys are they all on Christmas Day?
Not necessarily, but I'm saying it's a Sunday, so there will be a full slate of games on Christmas Day. I would assume, right?
It's only 3 on Sunday this
so
year.
only 3 on Sunday, and all the rest of them on what day? Saturday?
Yes.
I'd be surprised if the Cowboys are on that
on Sunday.
And because the thing is that they're going to make those games close, geographically. So the Cowboys. Well, Houston. They play Houston, right?
Yes,
home.
At home.
Then that could be it. It could be that. I could see Houston being that game then.
You think the league cares that much about people's travel on Christmas weekend?
Go look at it.
Yeah. I didn't mean that in I don't believe you way.
No, just go look at the last few years on the Christmas Day. I mean, like it's Cleveland versus Green Bay. I mean, it's probably, I don't think you would go one-day trips. I don't think the teams do that. I don't think they allow you to do that. But, I mean, it's quick travel. You get home quicker, early games.
I guess it could be different. One game on Christmas already.
Don't tell me it's Rams versus, like, the Giants.
Rams, Dolphins.
No, Denver.
Oh, Rams, Denver. I'm sorry.
If it was Rams, Dolphins, then
your thing's been blown.
I'm not trying to argue with you, but I remember vividly the Vikings played the Saints on Christmas a couple years ago, and that's not a quick trip.
Oh.
I bet you
years ago we had, was it Arizona? I think we had on Christmas Day.
We had Tennessee.
Those think about it though; those are about as good as you can get.
Yeah, it wasn't Seattle, right?
I mean, Arizona, Tennessee. You only play the Saints, Kansas City, and Houston so many times.
If we travel, I might be sick that day.
I
might call in sick.
So am I right? So if there's 3 games on Christmas Day, that means there will be like 12 on Christmas Eve.
Yeah,
plus maybe a Thursday night football.
Yeah, which I wouldn't mind. If we're Christmas Eve, home or away, I'm okay with that. I'm back by Christmas morning. I'm okay.
Watch the Cowboys be the Saturday night game on Christmas Eve, like 7:30 Christmas Eve.
And you can.
That does sound kind of Cowboys.
Very Cowboysy.
Yeah.
Get in at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
See Santa.
You literally run into him.
Help him.
What's up?
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
That sounds kind of fun, though, to be honest.
No, it doesn't.
Spoken as someone with no kids.
right.
Well, hey, better Christmas Eve than Christmas Day, right? I mean, like to Derek's point, you'll be home on Christmas morning.
The problem still is like Christmas Eve for all of us that are parents, like that's put together time. Like you got to put all that stuff together and get it done. There isn't actually a man that shows up at your house and does it for you.
Derek, you don't know who could be listening to this.
I'm just saying,
do that.
Okay, sure.
There are a lot of elves.
But I'm just saying, like in my house, I get the lion's share of that. And he doesn't help me enough, so I guess
See,
it ends up being me doing it most of the time.
You come home from the road game, there's a drill.
No deal.
For you.
No doubt about it.
What's a bummer for me, like what really depresses me, is when Christmas Day is on like a Thursday.
Yeah.
And you got to work, so you can't go home, but it's just practice and press conferences. But like when there's a game on a big, like I'm never bummed about we talk about this all the time. I'm never bummed about missing Thanksgiving because it's the game of the week. Yeah. Everybody's watching. It's a big event. You feel like you're part of something.
Yeah. Yep.
So like to play a game on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day would actually be more exciting than just being like, well, couldn't go home to see my family, but at least I get to listen to Dak's press conference. This is great. So, like, if I'm going to do it, I might as well do it big.
It's all about perspective.
Yeah. Sure. Wait, again, this is all coming from somebody with no kids and no wife. That's totally fair.
Yeah.
Fine.
No, but, I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that wherever we play, it's a Christmas Eve because I don't want that Christmas Day one. Definitely don't want it on the road. That's not fun.
We're talking about stuff that really, like, fans don't care about.
Yeah, the fans
No, they don't. They're actually probably like, man, it'd be nice to open gifts and then sit down and watch a Cowboys game. Like, that's what they care about.
The fans are, and it's fair to, we're going to be looking at, are they going to have like a triple road game or back-to-back short? Who
all is in December? Like, that's a huge one. Who all?
Yeah,
what are the cold? Yeah, you got cold weather cities in December. Like, what does December look like? That's a huge one.
To me, like, I say this every year, and even more so this year. I think I haven't seen the schedule yet, but I always say week 2 is huge, and it's a broken record. I say it all the time. What kind of team are you going to be? Are you going to be a team that if you win with the first one, are you going to be a team that goes 1-1 and you're in that 8-8 track or 8-9 or whatever? Or are you gonna stack some wins together? Or if you go 0-1, are you going to go 0-2? I always think Week 2 is a really big year, and it seems like this year is even bigger from what it sounds like.
You implying something?
Yeah, I am.
Oh, what, have you seen the schedule? I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen the schedule. I hear that Week 2 has a little ring to it, or a few rings to it.
Oh boy!
So that's all I know. I just think Week 2 could be a big year, and it always is. I say it every single year. Watch out for Week 2. So,
all right. What do you got?
What was Week 2 last year?
I don't remember.
Was that same EA? Was that Chargers?
No. Yes, it was.
And it was the biggest.
That was Week 2 was Chargers.
And it was the biggest win of the year. Think about it. Like, again, you start off 0-2.
Just from the standpoint of where you were in the season.
A lot of things happened out of that game.
Yeah,
you found out that your best player on the field
could do everything.
Yeah. That was a huge game.
Yeah, that's when you realized that was a great pick.
Wrong.
Yeah.
I was wrong during that game. I was wrong. I was like sitting up there in the press. I think with
you
both
losing your mind.
I was just like, he's such a good player. Why is he not on the field?
Yeah.
For the first half, it wasn't working. Slater was beating him.
Yeah.
But he went to the other side
and
he started rushing, and it was like, okay, like I could see it, but and they, Quinn's smarter than me. I guess I'll give him that when it comes to defense.
A little bit.
So no, but I thought that was a huge game. You found out Tony Pollard could do a little bit more. You found out Terrence Steele can actually block Bosa. Yeah. You don't have to worry about it. Those are a lot of good things. You found out your kicker's clutch.
If they could just get a division game or two. I just caught that. Sorry.
And we just glossed right over it.
He always throws it right in at the end.
Just keep going.
If they could just get a division road game or two out of the way early, because remember, they had to play all the division road games at the end of the year last year. Am I right in remembering that?
Oh, all the road games?
Isn't that right? Like
except for Washington.
No, Washington was late. Remember, late?
Wait, which one was? It would seem like it was one of them that was not.
Well, Philly was late.
I'm pulling it up.
Washington was late. And the Giants is always. Yeah, I know the Giants was. I don't remember at Philly. Oh yeah, they were all in December.
So
I thought there was one.
Washington was in December, New York was in December, and Philly was in January. Yeah, they were all at the end of the year.
Wow.
So if they can just get one or two of those division road games out of the way, they catch some breaks on the weather front. Like we already know they got to go to Green Bay in November. That's a break, honestly. Yeah. And then they don't play in a ton of cold weather cities other than division teams. Like they play at Minnesota, which is a dome. They play in Nashville, which shouldn't ever be super cold. Am I tempting fate?
Chris Beam and I have said on the
Oh my God!
Seriously, it was Christmas night. Go back to that.
Yeah.
Christmas night 2000. The Cowboys were the worst team they've ever been. Almost.
I remember that.
So bad. Got beat 31-0.
Was it Anthony Wright was our quarterback?
Huh?
I did not make that trip.
Yeah, you didn't make that.
No, I
trip.
did not make that trip.
I like the odds of this not biting me in the butt. Nashville and LA are the only outdoor road trips outside of the division.
Yeah.
So
it can be cold there in Nashville coming off the water. But
LA?
Rams?
Outdoors?
It is.
It is.
They're going to have it's open.
It's open. It's technically an open air stadium.
Open air. Okay, I didn't think.
But even if it is, it's LA. I mean, it doesn't get cold.
We showed up for the first game. Was it 2020? The first game, and of course, it was like the air quality was low there. They didn't even know if they were going to play the game. And the whole time, I'm like, why does this even matter? Like, I really thought they had a stadium.
But I think about it as the covering. I guess that's where I'm.
There.
Is the covering? I thought it had a covering.
It's burned into my brain.
That's my point. That's the only point I'm making. Like, I just think about open air as, and I know what you guys are saying. I just think of it as
the outside temperature has access to the playing field.
Right.
It's got to be 74 degrees.
Right.
It's always helpful.
They also play. They play outdoors in Jacksonville, which that doesn't get. Yeah.
You also have to think about the opposite there in Jacksonville. It's just
too hot.
It can get pretty humid there.
Yeah,
absolutely. All right. Appreciate you guys joining us. Did you have something?
Well, I was just mentioning. I think that Jacksonville is the only city that in the NFL that the Cowboys have never won in. I think that's right.
Cowboys have never won in Jacksonville?
I don't think so.
They won. What about Baltimore?
They have won there. It might have been when
not
the Colts,
against the Ravens.
when the Colts were there. Quit trying to throw facts around.
I'm sorry.
I don't think they've won in Jacksonville. Not for a regular season game. They didn't play a lot.
Yeah.
They haven't played a lot. And then we went to London when we were supposed to play them last year.
Yeah. Because
So
I was thinking, haven't they beaten the Jaguars? But that would be.
It was 06
that was
to open the year.
Yeah.
You think that's going to happen? Open the year against Jacksonville again?
Betting that's not going to happen.
I don't think
unlikely.
That's
it's not going to happen. All right. We appreciate you guys joining us. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll be back next week. Make sure you check out all the content we're putting up tomorrow around schedule release. And then coming up on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we got rookies in the building. We'll be getting lots of content around that. Till then, for Nick Eatman, Dave Hellman, and Amber Garcia, I am Derek Eagleton. This has been The Break, live on DallasCowboys.com radio.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?